We appreciate everyone for coming out this afternoon. Ryan Timms joins us. Ryan's always been a good friend of ours here the last couple of years, and we'd always like to say, Ryan, we were talking to you before you won the Nationals last year. We'll just start out tonight. Hard Knocks night coming up. Hopefully, Hard Knocks night. Hopefully, it's not Hard Knocks day tomorrow. But thought process going into tonight. We don't have to talk about what's happened this week, but to reset, get ready for tonight.
Yeah, it's, really where it all went. Oh, there's a couple things that went wrong on my prelim night, but qualifying is where it really all went wrong, and that's obviously, as everyone knows, the most important part of the week, and that's the main focus for tonight. You got to get top 4 in the main, and I think your starting position in the main goes back to qualifying, so you got to get qualified good and then get through your heat race and see where that puts you, and then just if we can start decent in the main, I think we definitely got a shot, so just focus is qualifying right now.
You've obviously had a lot of success here, obviously. What's the confidence going into qualifying tonight? It wasn't a huge boo-boo on your prelim night, I don't feel like, but after you kind of struggled with it, what's your confidence going into tonight qualifying-wise?
Yeah, it's, you try not to be like overconfident or underconfident, but I feel good. We race here every week, so you get a good idea of how qualifying is going to be, whether it's raining before the race and you know the track's going to be a little more juiced or whatever the case is. Got a good idea, and I got a really good idea of what I did wrong on my prelim night, so just fixing that. Confidence is high, but just try and do the best I can.
With so many unknowns, you might be racing tonight, might be racing tomorrow. How do you prepare for the two drastically different surfaces that we'll see? Obviously, if we race tonight, it's going to be pretty heavy and narrow. Mm-hmm. Tomorrow will be pretty dry and very dry.
Yeah. I think, all I can really compare it to is that weekly show we had where we didn't start till the 360 shootout night, where we didn't start till 9 or 10 o'clock because of the rain, and I would assume it's going to be pretty close to that. And it was super narrow for qualifying and heat races. We were fast that night, so you kind of got to just drive it a little harder than you normally do when it's that tacky, and maybe take some chances you wouldn't normally take, and just kind of leave it all out there for qualifying and heat race especially. So I think we'll be good no matter what, but it's definitely a drastic change from a regular night.
And I assume just the difference in formats, you don't have the huge invert like you would have on a normal prelim night, but they also take less out of the heat races. Is that a little bit of a trade-off, I guess, with the potential of a much narrower racetrack?
Yeah, for sure. That's kind of I'm happy that it is a 4-car invert, not an 8-car invert. An 8-car invert's just really, really tough to get to the top 4. Going from 4th to 3rd isn't quite as big of a deal. Still tough no matter what to start anywhere besides the front row and past cars here at Knoxville, but it's a lot easier to enter behind 2 guys in a corner versus 6 guys.
Let's talk about last night. You got to watch in the All Boss Sweet Tower, as always. Got to talk with Steve Kinzer. I saw that picture. Kind of explain that whole thing and how that was, 2 Knoxville Nationals champions, and I know he signed a Kinzer book just a little bit ago. But talk about that and just watching the race and what you thought of the race last night.
Yeah, that was really cool. He just happened to be up there. I asked Dennis, how'd you get this guy up here? And he just walked in, so it was cool. Glad I caught him there at the right time, and I took a picture with him probably when I was a little kid before I was racing here, and he kind of seemed like he was over taking pictures at that time, and last night he was more than happy to do it. So that was really cool, and it was cool for him to shake my hand and just, be happy to see me. That was from a legend like him. He is the best to do it, so a lot of respect for that guy, and that was really neat. I thought the race was phenomenal. The racetrack was awesome. I thought Garrett did a great job. Larson did a phenomenal job. I really think he did pretty much perfect, especially on that last restart. And it was just cool to see the bottom working for some guys, and both lines were working, and it was definitely a good night to watch. I think that's going to be really similar to how the track's going to be Saturday. It was really wide, the cushion was pushed up really high, and it was nice to see how those guys maneuvered it.
You don't seem to get flustered about too much, but having that night in between your prelim night and tonight, do you feel like that's better for you to kind of reset your mind, or would you rather do it back to back?
Yeah, I don't really know. I was thinking about this too. I don't know what I really prefer. It's nice to have a night off for sure during this long week of racing, but it's also nice to go out and race knowing you've been racing the last 3-4 days in a row, and just being kind of used to it. But I would say for me personally, I like having a night where you can just kind of relax and watch the race, watch the track, and just take a little bit of a break and come back 100%.
You especially need a break. You have been racing a lot. This is for both of you. With as hot and humid as it has been, how do you guys reset, lock in when it's tough conditions out there and it's the biggest races of the season?
Yeah,
go first, Ryan?
I mean, for me, I'm pretty fortunate to where my guys take care of the car and I just have to drive. It's hot when you get in that fire suit and it's 90 degrees with 90% humidity. It gets pretty warm pretty quick. When you're actually racing, I don't feel like you really notice it once your adrenaline gets going. But before and after, especially after you're done racing, it's like you can't get dry. You're just sweating, and no matter what you do, you wipe your face and you're sweating right after that. But just drinking as much water as you possibly can to the point where you're peeing all the time and can't keep sweating. Just almost overdoing it on the water and then getting a good night's rest before the race.
I feel the same, honestly. It always seems hotter before you put your suit on, but once you put your suit on, you know what you're about to do, so you kind of forget how hot it is. I got to drink a Pedialyte every day, or I'm in trouble for sure. So, big Pedialyte in the morning for me, and then, just like you said, staying up on your water and trying to eat enough. That's a really hard thing for me. I don't really eat on race days, so that 5-day stretch of racing every day was hard for me to keep food in.
Yeah.
No chicken.
Yeah, no chicken on race day either.
Last Saturday, you became the third driver to win both the 360 and 410 Knoxville Nationals, joining Sammy Swindell and Danny Lazowski. Just kind of go back on that. You've had a couple days to just kind of think about it, or not think about it. And did you get to celebrate really any at all? Because we turned around, we ran the Cappy on Sunday. Is that one thing maybe a couple weeks down the line you'll think back and be like, we did that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think so. I think I haven't really had a lot of time to appreciate it or think on it. I was really just wanting to focus on the Cappy and move past it, and we celebrated that night for 2 hours or so, and then it was immediately just taking a shower, going to bed, and getting ready the next morning for the Cappy. And you don't get a lot of time to appreciate it, but that was the whole week is the main focus, to run good at all the races, but I knew kind of who had done that, and so I wanted to be on that list, and that was the main focus, and to be able to get that knocked out early in the week was really nice and really, really cool. And just being able to focus on the 410 Nationals and Oskaloosa and all that, knowing that we had success already was really nice.
It's probably fair to say your life has changed a lot in the last year.
Yeah.
You get bugged by people like us a lot more, I'm sure. Can you describe just some things that, since you won the Knoxville Nationals last year, obviously we just talked about 360 Nationals as well, things that maybe people wouldn't expect that have changed for you?
Honestly, the biggest thing that's changed is just more people, more fans wanting to engage with you and talk to you, get autographs, and then more podcasts like this. And that's been the biggest difference. Nothing aside from that has really changed. I mean, we're still just going after the same goals that we were before, and but it's really cool to see, just to walk around and see people wearing my shirts or walking down through the campground or down the street going to Rib Shack and having someone stop me and want to get a picture or something, it's pretty cool, and definitely something I don't take for granted.
I kind of want to just go back to 360 Nationals. Obviously, both your 360 and 410 car are very fast. Larson threw a comment out there about saying 360s suck, and he loves the horsepower of the 410s. How do you feel about that? Because I mean, it's a whole different deal racing a 360 and a 410. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I was kind of, after the 360 Nationals last year and running 360s in the beginning of the year, I was kind of in the same boat. Like, man, these things, they're just so slow, and they're really, really hard to make ground up and pass guys and get runs, and you almost have to be more perfect in the 360 than you do the 410. And I just, instead of, thinking, man, these things just suck, just kind of focused on being as perfect as possible. I think a lot of the problem I was having was you got so much time to think about your lap and corner in the 360 that you can almost overdo it really easily. And just watching videos of Larson, Rico, whoever else was running up front at the Nationals last year, and seeing how precise and perfect they were every single lap, just studying that and trying to replicate it. And then, I mean, you gotta be on your game for the 360 stuff.
I want to talk about Huset's just a little bit. You're currently leading the weekly points there, going for another championship. Just kind of talk about Huset's this season. Obviously, it started weird. You haven't really raced a ton. The track's different, obviously, from what they've changed. Just kind of talk about Huset's this year and how that's kind of treated you.
Yeah, Huset's has been awesome. I love Huset's. We haven't raced as much as I wanted to. I think we've rained out, I don't know how many times we've rained
Heated out.
Heated out once, yeah. Probably 4 times. So as far as like the points battle went, I finished 13th, I think, on the first night, and then was only, I think still I'm only maybe 10 points ahead of Trom, and that's all the rainouts have kept it close for sure. And there's not a lot of room for error when you don't race that many times. So Huset's it's perfect for us. It's right in between Knoxville and Rapid City, and we're headed back home after Knoxville, and we just hit it on Sunday. And it's a great, you race here all the time, but then you get to go to a quarter mile and get the best of both worlds. And it's a great way to keep your car on point, yourself on point. And I think the banking that they changed this year has made it even racier and just a lot more exciting and more fun. And I would say Knoxville's easily my favorite place to race for sure, but Huset's is a top 3 or 5.
So, got the championship last year at Huset's. I know that Shane had told us that, the championship here was the next goal. Cappy, being a show-up points plus whatever you earn over, 200 points hurt in that aspect, but basically have to show up, unload, championship night here in a couple weeks. What'll that mean to you and your team to, if you conceal that? I'm not writing it down yet, but if you can get that done for yourself, Shane, your entire crew, what would that mean to your team?
Yeah, I know that'd mean the world to me. It'd mean the world to Shane. That's something that I think every race car driver wants on their resume is a Knoxville championship, and it's a really big deal to win one race here, let alone a championship. So this is a very prestigious racetrack. When I was younger, that was kind of the sprint car goal, was to you dream of being an outlaw champion, but you got to start somewhere, and it was kind of like Huset's would be the first goal, and then a Knoxville championship would be the second goal, and just see what happens after that. But to win here, I mean, I remember winning my first race here, I was super pumped for it, and I never really thought that after I ran here in my family car and seeing how hard it was to run here, and how hard it is to be consistent, I never thought it would really happen. And then I got hooked up with Shane, and it was like, this is a real possibility here. And Austin, he's one of the most consistent guys out there. He's always in the top 5, and it's tough to beat a guy like that. So it's been cool to be leading the points this long. And like you said, anything could happen come the last night. So we just got to treat it like a regular night and not worry about it.
Did you turn that music on? What
No,
was
I
that?
didn't.
Okay, I just wanted to. That was really weird. I don't know why that music turned on.
You kind of mentioned it. It's still in the moment, so I feel like you don't realize how cool it is. But to be able to build that big of a point lead against Austin, obviously he's a multi-time champion here, and like you said, he's one of the most consistent drivers here every week. Like I said, it's in the moment, so it probably doesn't seem as cool as it really is. But I know you still realize what you're doing. How special is it that, I mean, like he was saying, you're pretty much an unload and a qualifying lap away from having a championship here?
Yeah, it's really cool. Like you said, it's in the moment, so it's kind of hard to realize it all. But and you're just focusing on the last night. But Austin, he's been running here since a while, since before I was doing anything, I think. So he's a 4 or 5-time champion.
4-time.
So he knows how to get around here. He knows how to make good laps, and to be able to go up against them and have a consistent point lead over the whole season is a huge accomplishment for us, and something we're all really proud of.
We have a chance to have 2 of the 3 champions up here also, Mr. Higday. You're going in with a little bit smaller lead than what he has in the 410s. What are you going to have to do to seal the deal on championship night in the 360s, beat Tasker?
Be damn near perfect, honestly. Tasker's really fast, and he kind of gave us a lucky break there with that night that he didn't go to the scales, but we've been really consistent this year too. So pretty much just try to be perfect and honestly run top 5, and hopefully that's good enough to seal it up.
We want to be cognizant of your time, so I'll just kind of end on one thing. For those here in the Hall of Fame, they can see your car that you won the Nationals with last year. It's down there in the front entrance. Do we know what we're going to do with the car? Is it true that you want half of it? Or what's the story on what are you going to do with this car? Is Shane going to keep it running again? What's the deal?
Yeah, Shane initially wanted to keep it and run it this year, and I didn't want to do that. And, I think he was, after we talked about it a little bit, he's like, yeah, it's probably a good idea. We'll just leave it alone. And we left it dirty. We left it exactly how it came off the track. And there's still, I think, little pieces of confetti in the wing and stuff. And it's just a really cool keepsake. I think Christopher Bell, he has his first Chili Bowl car in his living room. So
so this is going in your living room.
I'll have to get
a bigger living room.
high standards. But I mean, I don't want to really cut it in half. I think keeping it together, and then Shane's going to hold on to it, and then and we got a pretty big age gap between us. So when I get older, he'll eventually give it to me, and then hopefully I'll have a shop or something by then that I can hang it up on the ceiling with.
All right, that's about what I expected, but I just wanted to make sure. Ryan, we appreciate your time this afternoon, and we wish you the best of luck here on Hard Knocks Night.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks,
Awesome.
man.
Ryan Timms, everyone.
Thank you.
Chase Dietz is in the back. Chase, if you want to make your way up. For those that don't know, Chase Dietz, the winningest sprint car driver here in 2026 across the country. 18 wins for him up in the Pennsylvania area. We got to have Chase on our show just a couple weeks ago. I just reached out on a whim.
Thanks, buddy. Good luck tonight.
Not knowing the type of person Chase was, he could have just left me on red. But you didn't leave me on red if you want to pick up that microphone. For a couple of Knoxville guys, obviously, we still try to keep up with the Pennsylvania area. Just kind of talk about your year, man. I mean, 18 wins has just been unbelievable to watch so far. You're here, and you're going to be in your first Knoxville Nationals. You just got to be living on a high right now.
Yeah, honestly, it's, we've had an excellent year as a team. Just last year when we first started things off with Stanley Motorsports, we won the first race of the season in Pennsylvania, and we were able to do that same thing this year, so kind of kick things off with some momentum was wonderful. And then we just have been very consistent, put ourselves in position all year long, and keep clicking these off, which is, you look at the numbers, it's a lot, and it's amazing, but for me, it's, now we might click another one off and I'm on to the next day. We're ready to win the next one. So you don't really dwell on those. You don't look at them too much. You just try and keep winning. That's what you do as a race car driver. That's what you want to do. And for us to come out here, our goal was to try and get out here a time or two to get some track time, because as a team we don't really have much time here, and to be able to get out, I think it was in June there, I think we only really got one night in, and we had some motor issues to start the night, so it didn't necessarily help, but it wasn't the best weekend for us to get some laps, but we at least got something, and we were trying to just gather some notes to help ourselves when we got here for this weekend, and that was the goal behind the 360, and just to get some time, and track experience is massive in this sport. That's why we're so good back home, just because that's where I grew up racing all my sprint car career, so that obviously helps. But the way Ryan's been doing it with the Lead Big team, you can race here weekly. That's a huge benefit. So for us, we put together a solid night the other night with our prelim and got ourselves in a good spot, and to lock into the A main, people don't realize how difficult this is. So we're very happy for that. At this point, hopefully today, and we're gonna try and take some more notes for watching everyone and watch the good guys here and how they get around this place. I've been trying to study as much as I can, but there's only so much you can do. You gotta get in the car and put yourself in those situations to learn the most. So we'll gather some notes up today and put ourselves in a good spot tomorrow to hopefully go forward.
Pretty nice not having to worry about this whole situation that's going on right now. Know where you're starting come main event time, I'm sure.
Yeah, your biggest goal is not to race Friday for sure. It's you think the Capitani's tough, and then you go to Hard Knocks night. I mean, it's just as bad, and sometimes the pill draw doesn't help you whatsoever, especially on a night where the track can go away in a hurry. But you just you got to keep plugging away no matter what. Like Ryan was just here, just won the Knoxville Nationals last year, and now he's sitting in that position to run Hard Knocks. It's not hard to be there. It just sometimes things just don't go your way. But in all reality, you keep plugging away. It's not like you can't come from the back and get there in a 50-lap race. It's a long event, but it's a tough field of cars too.
360s obviously weren't the nicest to you this year. Looking at your prelim night for 410s, what was kind of like the goal or the mindset going into that? Obviously, like you said, you don't have a ton of laps around here with your team. Knoxville's pretty brutal to people that don't have a lot of laps here, and what was kind of like your mindset, or I guess your goal going into your prelim night, and then I'm guessing you probably exceeded that.
Not draw last.
I started off with the worst scenario. Heck, my crew chief was sitting next to me while I'm pulling the pill, and he watched me do it. I'm like, phew, he's gonna be yelling at me here in a second. Look, you never know what you're gonna do there, and you just deal with the cards you're dealt. For us, at that point, I felt for how we were at the Cappy. We had some speed in qualifying, which is huge. At least we knew if we can make some gains on that, we could put ourselves in position. After that, I felt the Cappy, we won our heat race, and I really didn't feel that great. So I knew we needed to really get working on our race program. And that feature that night, we were awful. And just kind of go back through some notes. Racing at home, it's completely different in Pennsylvania than it is out this way, as far as just the dirt itself and the track conditions, as well as just the shape of the racetrack. Back home, we have such long straightaways that it makes the car do a lot of different things, and we really rely on that back home for those straightaways and what we call wing speed. And out here, you have a lot of speed, and it's somewhat similar, but it's more of an oval. You're in the corners more than you are the straightaways at Knoxville. So that changes a lot of things and what I got to do as a driver, and as well as what we got to do with the car. So in race conditions, that it didn't really play into our program. And Sunday, we really sat down and we figured, look, we have some decent speed by ourselves. We just got to get a little better come race time. And a lot of people think it's, when you're that bad that you got to make some wholesale changes. And in all reality, it's not. You got to look at the little things. And we were able to kind of pinpoint a couple things, what we felt that we needed to change. And we did that for our prelim night and laid down a half solid lap for qualifying, going out late, and put us in a good position to be third row in a heat race. I thought was pretty critical. It gave us a better shot at gaining some points and getting ourselves in the feature, and we were able to do that. I got a good start the first one and got called back and moved me to the inside row, and I was not happy about that. And, luckily, the lane kind of cleared out for me the second start, and we got a couple positions. Got past Sheldon at first, and he got me back, and I finally felt racy where I could move around and felt like we had the pretty decent speed. So when we got to the feature, I was hoping we weren't going to go the other direction like we did at the Cappy, and we were solid. I wouldn't say we were great, but I felt like we could maneuver and got solid laps, and that was the big key. So put ourselves in a good spot, and it's all about learning. You got to take notes every time you hit the track. As a driver, as a crew chief, tire guy, everyone. You got to pay attention to every little detail, and we've been doing that as best we can. So we're going to do the best we possibly can tomorrow night for what we know, and we'll see how things play out for us.
Your first trip here was in the Shark Racing 1A, and not many people know that, and that was kind of a last-second decision, really. You told us that story here on the show, but for the people here, they might not know. So kind of explain the timeline and how crazy of a 24 hours or 48 hours it was when you first got here to Knoxville for your first laps. And it just so happened to be for Bobby Allen. Yeah,
so that was back in 2023. Now, just kind of a little background on that. I've raced with Logan Schuhart and Jacob Allen since go-kart days and grew up with them. So when the Knoxville Nationals came that year in 23, I believe it was Tuesday. It was a Tuesday, so Wednesday was the first prelim night then. And Jake had decided he was going to take a break, and I was sitting at my desk at work, and I got a call from Bobby, and I missed it, and I had seen it, and I called him right back. It was probably 2 in the afternoon, and he's like, "Hey, Jake's he's gonna take a little break. I need a driver for Knoxville. You want to come out?" And I was like, I didn't really expect that whatsoever, obviously, and I'm like, "Well, Bobby, I got a lot of stuff going on here. I gotta see if I can even make that work." So I hung up quick and took a couple minutes to kind of figure things out, see if I could possibly do it. Talked to my boss at work, which they were pretty lenient with things with racing anyway, and I called him right back. I'm like, "Hey, I'll be out. When's our prelim?" Didn't even ask that the first time. And he's like, "Well, it's tomorrow." He's like, how quick can you get out?" I'm like, "Damn, Bobby, you're really making this hard here." So it was me and my dad. It was 7 o'clock in the evening. We had packed all of our stuff up, and we headed on the road. We drove straight out. I think we got to the parking lot over here where they had everything set up. It was like 10 in the morning Wednesday, and got in the seat, made sure I fit. And Bobby's like, "Did you get any sleep?" I was like, "Not really, but we're gonna see what we can do here." So, I was ecstatic that Bobby first thought of me, honestly, and I had talked to Bobby a number of times before. And, just pretty cool experience. First off, that was my first Nationals to get out here and be a part of. Not necessarily, for me, I didn't have any expectations at all. I had no time here, no idea what we were doing with car-wise and stuff, but just got some time on the track, and it was just for me, a great story to tell, honestly. And, it's just kind of one of those things that, you later down the road for me, I look back on, I can really enjoy that story a little more telling it. So pretty cool experience for me, for sure.
So shifting gears a little bit, you have a pretty good social media game, I'd say. You provide updates pretty regularly. I know Chase Dietz Racing on Facebook is probably the best place to follow you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Have you seen a big impact with fan interactions and just even kind of growing yourself and the team going down that route? Because I see a lot more people. Cade, you're getting better at doing that too. Have you seen a big difference interacting that way?
Absolutely. Look, I feel like the face-to-face with the fans and doing these things, and also, for me, I try to do a lot of videos just to talk to people. And look, they may not listen, but they like the face-to-face interaction, no matter if it's on their phone or in person. So It's huge. It's huge for the sport, not let alone us as drivers and teams, to basically have that interaction, because people want that. Me personally, I try and think how the rest of the world does, and that's what we've kind of shifted towards. So try and do as much as I can. I kind of handle all that myself, and it's tough to do. You watch a lot of guys that do it so great, and that would be one I always watch is Rico. He's got some help on that end, but it's incredible to see what he's able to do and how he markets himself as well as his team, and brings some other businesses into the sport, and it's huge. Bringing new people into the sport can be tough, and when you can get out in front of them and show them what we do and what these events are about, typically they're coming back. I can't really say that I've met. I don't think I've ever met one person that has come to the first race and didn't say, "Man, I'm definitely not coming back to this." So they're ready to go, and they're addicted just like we are, and that's the cool part about it. And actually, I just had some fans down at the T-shirt trailer. They were talking about they had watched this on TV a few times, and that's how they started it. They didn't even really know what sprint car racing was, and they came to the Knoxville Nationals for their first race. I'm like, well, yeah, you're starting off hot. So it was really neat to have that interaction, and just to see the excitement they have, and for them, they don't even know what they're getting into for tomorrow. So, and if things don't go right tonight, they got a long day tomorrow. So it's just really cool to see, and I love being able to interact with you guys, who have the same passion, as well as the fans who may not know everything about the sport, and be able to teach them a little bit. So this is what I love the most, and if you find me, you probably won't stop talking to me, because I'll keep rolling on things.
Looking back to this weekend, how have the past couple of days treated you? I know yesterday was probably still a little bit stressful with another race night going on, but I'm sure today is probably a sigh of relief. And kind of thinking towards tomorrow, what's the game plan for you personally tomorrow?
Yesterday I probably enjoyed things a little more, just because of the honestly, for me yesterday I was probably all over the place more than anything, but just to try and sit down and think about it a little bit, hey, this is real. You're going to be in the Nationals. For me, a couple years ago, I'd have told you, I was probably just staying in PA and racing there. I never thought I'd get the opportunity to be out here, let alone be in the Nationals. And obviously, as a driver, you've always dreamed of being in these races and winning it. So I'm just very grateful to be in this position. For me, though, today is back at it, try and get a workout in, go to the gym. Kind of the toughest part for me is I'm so used to home where, look, I'm home every night. The Outlaws and the high limit guys and these guys that travel, I mean, they're in hotel rooms and all over the place down the road all year long. For me, we'll race 3 times a weekend. I'm in my own bed every night. And then right back, and then right back to my routine. So that's kind of the toughest part for me, being out here in Knoxville, is kind of trying to stay in that little bit of a routine. So for me, it's kind of getting back to that today, going to the gym, getting ready, trying to make sure I'm going to feel good for tomorrow, and probably haven't slept the best I feel like all week. So I'll probably be I'm going to try and get in a little early tonight just to prepare. But at the same time, you gotta stay focused on the goal. For me, my main goal is to make the Nationals. At this point, I feel, look, if we get our stuff right, there's no reason we can't get ourselves up front and be a part of that for the way our season's gone and what we have as a team. So we're gonna put our heads together, do a little thinking tonight to see what we need to do as our game plan for tomorrow. But again, as far as our mental aspects, just staying focused on what we need to do, and we should be just fine tomorrow.
Last question for you here, and then we'll let you go. How would you describe what you see in Central Pennsylvania, the PA Posse fans, to what you've seen here at Knoxville? And it doesn't have to be negative, it doesn't have to be positive, but what differences do you see now, seeing them all the time in Pennsylvania, and now what you see here at the Knoxville Nationals?
Coming to the Nationals, you get you get everyone.
You get
coming
everybody,
here.
yes.
And that's the coolest part about the event. And you know, back home, you know, I see the same people, you know, every weekend, but man, do we have a lot of fans back home, and they are very, very passionate about their racing. But when you get out to, you know, the Knoxville Nationals and the biggest races of the year, you know, that's where everyone comes together, and to kind of see how far some of these people come. Like, you know, I'm at the t-shirt trailer asking people how they're doing and where they're at, you know, where they've come from. And, you know, I've seen a lot of local people and a lot of people from all over the place. I just talked to a guy from California and, you know, acted like he knew me because he watches from all the way over there and watches Pennsylvania races. And that's the neat thing. And for me, to kind of meet everyone and then see everyone come together like that, this is the place you want to be at when it comes to sprint car racing. I enjoy every minute of it. So crazy to see how big these races are and the amount of people that come together in just one small little town. But it's definitely the place you want to be if you're a fan.
Got one more for you. We're here, Knoxville Nationals. Back home, what is the one race that if you told these people that they need to get back home for you, that get out to Pennsylvania and see out there?
Back home, probably the best race of the year to get to is the Tuscarora 50 at Port Royal. You got the fair going on there, and it's a long week of racing where heck, we start Monday. They have a day show on Labor Day, and then you know the fair races with High Limit coming into town on Thursday, Friday, Saturday now, and very cool experience. Small little town. It's kind of no different than going to Knoxville to a point, and just a lot of stuff going on there. So I would say would be number one. Second one, National Open. You know, just the big crown jewel races, you would say. So if you're ever making your way over to Pennsylvania, definitely hit those events.
Well, Chase, we appreciate your time.
Thanks,
Enjoy tonight off, and good luck tomorrow at the Knoxville Nationals.
Thank you guys very much.
Awesome. Chase Dietz joins us. We appreciate everyone for coming out here this afternoon. It looks like we are getting haulers into the infield, which is great. We'll hope for the best. We'll hope that the weather holds off. If you want to check out Knoxville Nights, we're on all social media platforms, just at Knoxville Nights. You can check us out on YouTube. We've just been doing post-race stuff. Anything else? And yeah, we really appreciate everyone for coming out here this afternoon. So,
Yeah, thanks everybody.
enjoy the races tonight.
We made learning.
Okay.